All right, let's talk about something that happens inside all of us. Scars. Not the ones on our skin, but the internal ones. They can be silent killers, causing organ failure when our body's healing process just goes haywire. But what if we could find the off switch? In today's Explainer, we're going to dive into some brand new research that's found a hidden trigger for this scarring, and more importantly, a way to stop it.
Just think about that for a second. What if, after a major injury or a serious disease, your lungs, your heart, your liver could repair themselves perfectly? I mean, with no damaging scar tissue left behind at all. It honestly sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but some new research suggests it might be way closer than we think.
So, the villain of our story today is a process called fibrosis. And really, it's the body's healing process gone wrong. Instead of regenerating healthy, functioning tissue, it just starts laying down this thick, fibrous connective tissue, basically an internal scar. And over time, this scar tissue makes the organ stiff and literally chokes out its normal function.
And get this is not some rare, obscure condition. Fibrosis is a fundamental problem that contributes to the failure of our most vital organs: lungs, liver, heart, you name it. It is, without a doubt, one of the biggest challenges in modern medicine.
You know, for years, the scientific consensus kind of pointed the finger at these cells called fibroblasts. They were the usual suspects, right? The primary builders of these scars. But what if that was only part of the story? What if a key player, a cell that was supposed to be a protector, was actually orchestrating the whole destructive process?
So let's introduce the main character here, the mesothelial cell. Our internal organs are coated in this super thin, single layer of these cells. Think of it like a biological Teflon coating. It's this slippery, protective barrier that lets our organs move around smoothly without rubbing against each other. They are the silent guardians of our insides.
Which brings us to the central mystery, right? How does this helpful, lubricating cell, this guardian, get twisted into something that contributes to a life-threatening disease like fibrosis?
And this is where our source material for today comes in. A team of researchers used this incredibly powerful technology called single-cell analysis. It's like creating a unique ID card for every single cell. This let them track thousands of individual mesothelial cells in both healthy and diseased organs, watching them in real time to see exactly what they were up to.
And what they found, well, it changes everything. It turns out these cells don't just have a simple on or off switch for causing fibrosis. No, when they sense an injury, they begin this highly choreographed four-stage transformation from a protector into a scar builder.
So this is what they found, this four-stage journey. The cells start out as a first responder, then they can become a demolition crew, then an alarm system, and finally, the rogue builder. Let's break down what each of these stages actually does.
Okay, so it all kicks off with stage 1, the first responder. As soon as an injury happens, these cells just fire up their metabolism. They get totally supercharged with energy, basically prepping for the jobs ahead. And this right here, this is the crucial gateway to the entire process.
Now, once they're all charged up, some cells move into stage 2, becoming a demolition crew. They start pumping out enzymes that break down the existing tissue structure right around the injury. It's like they're clearing the site for whatever's coming next.
And with the site cleared, the cells can then enter stage 3, the alarm system. At this point, they start sending out these chemical signals that call in the body's immune cells for backup, like sounding a 5-alarm fire.
And all of this leads to the final and most devastating stage, the rogue builder. The cell fully transforms and starts churning out massive amounts of collagen and other stuff that forms that dense, stiff scar tissue of fibrosis. It's no longer repairing, it's just building scar.
So, seeing this predictable, step-by-step process gave the researchers a really brilliant idea. I mean, if the cells have to go through stage 1 to get to stage 4, what if you could just keep them in stage 1? What if you could stop them from ever becoming the demolition crew or that rogue builder?
So they went hunting. They went looking for the genetic driver behind this whole process, and they found it. A single gene that acts like a master regulator, like an off switch. And by activating this one gene, they could lock the cells in that initial first responder state and stop them from ever moving on to those more destructive stages.
And of course, they put this to the test in mice with lung injuries. So in the normal case, the injury triggered that full 4-stage cascade, and it led to severe fibrosis. But in the test group, they activated that genetic off switch to force the cells to just stay in stage 1. The result? It was absolutely stunning. The lungs were almost completely protected from any scarring.
And this chart right here just shows you how huge that difference was. On a scientific scale for fibrosis, a score of 7 is, well, it's really bad. That's what you see in the standard injury group. But the group where they flipped that off-switch gene, they scored a 1. I mean, that's not just a small improvement. That is a dramatic, almost complete prevention of scarring. It's incredible.
So by keeping these crucial cells in that initial high-energy metabolic state, the researchers effectively short-circuited the entire fibrotic process. The cells were still responding to the injury, sure, but they never got the signal to start tearing things down and rebuilding with useless scar tissue. Just as the study's authors put it, this discovery positions these once overlooked mesothelial cells as a gateway to fibrotic disease. And if we understand the gateway, well, that means we might finally have a way to close it.
Okay, this is the big question, isn't it? It's an incredible result in mice, for sure, but does it actually matter for people? Well, the researchers took that critical next step and analyzed thousands of human mesothelial cells from patients with all sorts of lung diseases.
And amazingly, they found the exact same cellular states. This table shows how the stages they ID'd in mice map directly to cells found in major human diseases. That first responder state, it's a big deal in idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Those later scar-building states, you find those in diseases like ILD. This confirms it's not just some weird mouse thing. This is a fundamental process happening inside of us.
And this is why this all matters. We now have a roadmap. Instead of trying to treat fibrosis after all the scar tissue has already formed, when it's often too late, we could potentially develop therapies that target these cells right at the very beginning, at stage 1, and prevent the damage before it even starts.
So let's just recap the big picture here. We've seen that these protective cells lining our organs can basically be hijacked, sent on a 4-stage journey from guardian to scar builder. But that journey is also a gateway, and it's one that we now might know how to control. By finding that genetic switch to lock these cells in their helpful first stage, we might be able to prevent scarring before it ever begins. And this research shows that process is the same in us as it is in mice.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We've always thought of healing as this incredibly complex process, with countless moving parts. But what if the answer to preventing some of our most devastating diseases lies in just reprogramming one single cell type, telling it to stay a guardian and never become a builder of scars? It's a truly revolutionary idea. Thanks for tuning in.